So let's start with the presentation first. What is EB-5? Some of you already know about it, but many of you have joined us new. So let's talk about EB-5. What is EB-5? Now, EB-5 is a legitimate US government program, which is, gives you green card in return for an investment and job creation. So it's not purely investment, it has investment, and the investment should result into job creation for the Americans. Right? This program was started way back in 1990. It's not a new program. The program was started in 1990, and there was no change in the program till recently. Just last year, the US Congress passed a new act called the EB-5 Reforms and Integrity Act of 2022. So the changes have been made in this program more than after 30 years, only recently, and we now have the new EB-5 Act called the EB-5 Reforms and Integrity Act of 2022. And there are some changes which have been brought about by the Act. Many of them are very beneficial to the investors, which we're going to talk more in detail. The program requires an investment of $800,000 in a US government-approved project. And like I said, for each investor, there should be at least 10 jobs which should be created. So it's investment plus job creation. And with this, the entire family will get green card. So family will include husband, wife, and children below 21 years of age. And like I said, the program is pretty old. It got popular in India only since 2015 onwards. Prior to that, it was very popular in China. But in India, it has caught up, 2015 and 2017-18 was the time when it really took off in India, and thousands of Indian investors have applied under this program. Many of them have been applied through us, and they are already in the US enjoying the American dream. Now, why EB-5? Why are we talking about EB-5? Why is people are going for EB-5? That is because this is one of the quickest and the easiest route to get green card. Right, friends, we know that getting green card in the US is becoming increasingly difficult, especially of late in the past few years. The conventional, if you talk about traditionally earlier, the normal way of getting into the US and getting a green card was through family sponsorship, where you have your friends, where you have your relatives, they will sponsor you, and after a few years you get a green card and you move over there. Now, under the sponsorship route, if your uncle, auntie, or even, in some cases, even if your brothers or sisters want to sponsor you, then it is going to take you indefinite time. It could take 50 years, 100 years, or even more for you to move to US, which is virtually, impractical. The other traditional way of moving and a very popular way of moving into US, especially among Indians, was you go there for education, you study in the university over there. After you're graduating, you take up a job. After taking a job, you get H-1B visa, and then you migrate from H-1B visa to green card. That was a very popular route among Indians. But now we know it has become very, very difficult. Firstly, to get sponsorship for an H-1B visa is extremely difficult. Second, even if you get sponsorship, after that, you need to apply for the lottery. H-1B visa has now become a lottery. In the recent, 65,000 visas which were set aside under the H-1B visa program, and you had almost 800,000 people applying for it. So it is a big lottery, and even if you get selected in the lottery, you will only get H-1B, which means you can only work in the US. You don't get permanent residency. You will get permanent residency after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or even 100. So it's become virtually impossible to get permanent residency in the US through the traditional route. That's the reason why people are now looking at EB-5. So relatively, while EB-5 visa does take about 2 to 3 years or even more to get the EB-5 to get the green card, but it is still much faster than the other traditional routes. The other advantage about the EB-5 visa is that you don't need any age, education, qualification, work qualification, etc. Unlike immigration programs of many other countries, we talk about Australia, UK, Canada, you have a point system over there, and you have to meet a lot of conditions, and then only if you meet that, you can become eligible for residency. Here, the only condition is that you need to have money and you need to invest that money, right? And the money should result into job creation. We'll talk more about that later. Again, unlike H-1B, in case of EB-5, there is no lottery system. If you follow the process, if you do the things right, if your documentation is correct, if your investment process is correct, and you follow our advice and the attorney's advice, then you are almost assured of getting a green card through this process.